Hello everyone, this is Zodi Emish from the Red Shirt Army podcast. I'm coming to you today to talk about a very special mod I found on the internets today. Essentially, it is a mod from one of our community members named Pendra. He actually has a website called sto-advanced.com. And on this website, he has a lot of client-side mods. Today, I will be showing you the first-person shooter mod. Essentially what this does is this locks your camera in a first-person mode. A few things to go over first about this. First off, it is a client-side mod only, so it does not change anything on the game server. What does that mean? That means you won't get banned for using this, because it's no different than changing textures and playing around with your camera. Essentially, though, no one else is going to see these effects, and the server is not going to be affected. It goes along the same lines as, say, a texture mod where, let's say I want to paint this console here pink. If I do a client-side mod of it, when I look at it, it'll be pink. But when someone else, like let's say if you were right behind me and you looked at it, it would not be pink, unless of course you have the same mod. Same idea goes for here. Now, what this is doing though, this mod's a little bit different though, because while it adds an extra, targeting reticle, it also does the key binding for you. You see, we have the ability to go into first-person mode. The difference is, though, to get into first-person mode, it takes like 30 different keys you have to enter in and bind them together each time you do it. This mod, on the other hand, though, does it in one simple package that you install. We have one setup you have to do before, and then you're ready to go, which is quite nice. Few little things about it, though. You lose the ability to look at your character. The reason for this is because you have to be able to control your camera like it's a first-person shooter. And so when you're in first-person shooter mode, you won't be able to spin around. I mean, you'll spin around, but your character spins around. So essentially, though, you can't turn around and look at your camera. I'm not a huge fan of this because I like to look at my character at times. You know, spin around, take awesome screenshots. And with this mod, it's essentially disabled. I do that because I'm narcissistic, but, you know, other people have their own reasons. If you can get past that, though, and you really want to do Star Trek Online in first-person shooter, this would be a really good mod for you. Now, the way this mod works is, essentially, you have to kind of trick the camera. This is no different than how you do it the other way with the keybinds. You see, the camera is its own little entity. It follows around your character, and so no matter where you go, the camera follows. If you notice, though, when you get into the wall, you go into first-person mode like this. The reason for that is, see, the camera is not really affected by anything like characters, boss, and ships. The reason for this is because, you know, you have to be able to move your camera around, and sometimes they get in the way. A good example of what happens, essentially, is like when I come near my boss here, and I walk through him, carefully. If you notice, I go through him. Same idea for the camera. Now, what this mod does and what the key bindings do is when you get to this point here, it locks your camera into this. Essentially, you are facing forward to where your character is, and wherever you point, that will be where you're shooting. So, how does the mod work exactly? Well, first you download the file and you install it. I've already downloaded it, scanned it a couple times to make sure, because I'm kind of one of those people who worries about, you know, viruses and stuff. And so far, his stuff has been clean. I say so far because I'm worrisome about anything, really. So, when you get into this mode like this, you walk up to the wall, bring it into the camera mode where it goes inside your head, and after you do the initial key bindings, which I won't go over because he has a really good detail on how to do it, you hit Shift L. Now, I am trapped in first-person mode. Now, it does have some trouble with it, though. For instance, if you notice, there's a little reticle up here. You actually have to come over here and grab this, and just put it really in your center. This is where you're going to be aiming. Best thing to do, you see your mouse disappears when you use it. You actually have to hit the middle mouse button to bring it up and back. Best thing to do is put it right in the middle and leave it there. Now, one of the problems I talked about, though, was scanning. When you scan, you can't see the beam, which points you to the area that the item you're looking for. Normally, this is not a problem, unless, of course, you are looking for all the different Unless, of course, you're looking for all the different resources and stuff like that. In that case, I would not really use this mode. Another interesting fact is the left mouse button is your target, but it's not exactly always the most accurate. So you might have to play around with it a little bit to figure out where it goes. But overall, though, it's pretty darn accurate. It's also sometimes hard to command your boss, because you have to, click out, you lose your targeting for a minute, and it's a hassle. But it's not too bad of a hassle. As for, any powers and stuff like that, it's best just to make sure you have them bind on there. Like, I have all mine bind in ways that I can hit them easily with control and the number. So, it's really no problem for me. Another interesting thing, and I'm going to get to that in just a second once I find the Borg, is the combat. It sometimes can get hectic, especially with, here we go, set my buffs. Especially when they get really close to you. It does fill up your screen, and it's hard to command your guys, but you'll get used to it, I find. I find it's kind of hard to get used to, but it's not too bad after a while. You notice, though, you'll have the gun. The gun's not perfect, though. It doesn't have all the arms, just like how the scan doesn't have the arms. But you see all the mode, you see all the attacks, like sweep. See, this is what I mean. Sometimes it gets really close and personal, and it can get kind of intense if you ask me. They're going to go out up in your face, and it's like, oh no, they're going to assimilate me. But other than that, though, it's pretty awesome mod. I think these guys are going to kill me. So, yeah, this is the mod. Pretty sweet. Especially, it's kind of good for, if you want to do machinimas and stuff like that. And you want to get something like close-up face, which I don't know why you'd have to use that with demo record. But if you wanted to, this would be a good mod for that. If you want a first-person shooter experience, get scared by the Borg, pretty good mod to do. And I just died because I'm not really paying attention. But anyway, so this is the first-person shooter mod by Pendra. I will have a link below if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're watching this on redshirtarmy.com, underneath the Deck 15, my personal blog. In fact, this will be the blog for the week. I will have a link in the blog along with the video. So, check this out, and he also has some pretty other cool mods. A mod that changes L cars from blue to their normal colors, and one that shrinks the barn doors on Starbase 1. So just check them out, have an open mind, and enjoy, really. That's the biggest thing is, if you find something you like, use it. As long as it's not game-changing, this is not game-changing, this doesn't, affect the server, use it, that's all I can say. So, have a good day.